Here I'd like to talk about something about my code. And as you can see, I run my experience on MATLAB 2014. And in the left box is the nearest OR project and database I used to run experiments on Wiki database. And I will talk about code for one by one. Here, this one is used to calculate the European kernel function, and this one is the label database of the Wiki database. This one is the function that used in the first function here to count European distance, and here is used here. This one is used to calculate the mean average prism, and here is the main function, and I will talk this one in detail. And here is the function used to draw the PR curves, and here this database is used to store the features of images and text of the Wiki database. And here this text file is used to store the result of my experiments. And here is the key function of the model. TPLS mean function is the key function for our model, which is the implement of our trigonal partitioned squares. And here, the last one function is used to standardize our date through the z-score. And then I will next talk about the main function, which I named it as PLS last. And here is the first. I will set in some basic date, such as the time calculation, and note the feature database, and it is a label database, and some other thing like this. Here is to calculate the kernel features for the images and text, and this one to z-score the standardize the kernel feature of images and text into I3 and T3 respectively. And here is the TPLS training process. Let's start. And this part is also the process of our date before we start the TPLS model formally. And here is this part is the initial process about the text date. And here we set the TPI, the latent variables dimension equal to 200, and then we start our TPLS model. And here, and before we step into this function, let's just continue to have a global knowledge of our main function. And our TPLS model will output the regression of image, the regression of text, and now also the other respective latent variables and something others. And here, after we have got the regression efficient matrix B, we'd like to test our process. And here is the tester process. And here is also the same initial process like the date in training process. And here is that we just project our input model variables into label modalities. And here is the, as you can see, the regression function. The same initial process like the date in training process. And here is that we just project our input model variables into the neighbor modalities, and here is the, as you can see, the regression function, and here is what we used to choose to solve the training rate, more clearly classification rate in training dataset. And here the next part is the DPLS model for text. Model is very similar to the image. We just changed the all image date into the text. And after we have just get the all data we need in image and text, we then choose to calculate now mean average reason. And also, well, this note part is used to plot the prison recall curves, and I just take them as rows. And next, I'd like to talk about recall curves, and I just take them as rows. And next, I'd like to talk about our key function, TPLS. And here you can see the input are the image kernel features, text kernel features, and the latent variables dimension, and whether to show the result, comment windows. And here we set the max number of iterations as 100, and we also set the criterion for stopping the iteration for 1 power -8, and here is the initial of the latent variables, and here is just some equation, and here is also the initial for the parameters. And here we'd like to standardize the every parameter, so we do this part. And here is the optimization part. If the iteration is less than the maximized iteration numbers, here is the discrimination for whether to stop iteration. And here is also the equation, and this is the self-class. And here is the optimization that we just written in my paper for the optimization of this model. And this part are the optimization of my model that I write in my paper. You can see more details in my paper. And for each iteration, we get one dimension of the latent space. And after that, we just do the deflation, and then we just use the rest of our variables, and then we do the next iteration. And this is the design of our TPLS model and the implement of our TPLS model, as you can see. And now I'd like to run my code, and you can see the process. Well, after running, I just have 2 index. You see now always 2 index appeared in pairs. Well, the first one is the dimension, which means this is how much dimension have been calculated in my model. Well, the sum of the dimension is 200. And the second one you see is the iterative numbers. As you can see, I have set the max iterative numbers as 100. So if it doesn't fulfill the condition to start as 100. So if it doesn't fulfill the condition to stop, it will run 100 times for each dimension, and I will show you the results that I have run on my computer. And here is the last result outputs in my computer. Well, the calculation of text rate in training process is about 70%, and the running time you can see is very long. And here is the recall for all samples, and the image query is the 0.242, and the text query is 0.317310, and the dimension I have set here is 200, and that is all for my code.